One day, you will run out of tomorrows. And when that day comes, the question will not be how busy you were, how sensible you looked, or how safe you played it. The question will be whether you enjoyed the life you lived, whether you answered what was calling you, whether you had the courage to step toward the life you kept dreaming about, or whether you kept pushing it away with the same old excuse, later, when things settle down. But that is exactly how a life disappears. Not always through disaster, often through delay, through hesitation that becomes habit, through 1,000 quiet moments where a person feels the pull toward something real, then turns back toward what makes them feel comfortable. And that is why the deepest regret is almost never failure. It is potential left unused, a voice ignored for too long, a dream carried for years and never honored with action. It is reaching the end and realizing that the life you were meant to live was always asking something of you, and you kept giving it reasons to wait. There is something haunting about that. Not the thought of falling short after trying, the thought of never truly entering your own life, of staying on the edge of it, watching it, thinking about it, promising yourself you will begin soon, and then waking up one day to find that soon became never. That is what if really is. It is not a phrase. It is a weight. It is the ache of a life half lived. The pain of knowing there was more in you, but you kept dancing with fear, comfort, and caution until the years started to stack. Most people think regret comes from taking the leap and failing. But more often, regret comes from not leaping at all. From staying where your spirit is slowly starving because the place is stable. From waking up every day to work that pays the bills but drains your soul, and calling it maturity while something inside you quietly dies. From carrying an idea, a calling, a thing you were meant to build, and treating it like a thought instead of a responsibility. That is the tragedy. Not that life is hard, not that the road is uncertain, but that so many people choose a kind of comfortable suffering over the terrifying freedom of an honest life. They choose the job they can tolerate over the path that would make them come alive. They choose predictability over purpose. They choose the pain they know over the possibility they do not. And then they call that wisdom. But sometimes it's not wisdom. Sometimes it is fear wearing a respectable face. Because safety has a cost. Comfort has a cost. And if you are not careful, the life you call secure becomes the life you secretly resent. You can build an entire existence around avoiding risk and still end up bankrupt in the place that matters most. A person can look stable on the outside and be full of grief on the inside. Grief for the work they never started, the life they never built, the version of themselves that kept knocking year after year and never got let in. That is why this matters so much. Because time does not stop and ask whether you are ready. It keeps moving. It keeps taking. And while you are waiting for clarity, waiting for courage, waiting for the perfect season, your life is being spent. Not later. Now. That is the part people do not want to face. Every time you betray what matters to you, you train yourself to live further away from it. Every time you say one day instead of taking one honest step now, You make delay feel more normal. And the more normal delay becomes, the easier it is to mistake it for your personality. You start saying, "This is just how life works. This is just being realistic." But there is a difference between responsibility and abandonment. There is a difference between patience and cowardice. That difference matters, because one leads to peace, the other leads to what if? And no one escapes that question forever. It waits. In sleepless nights. In those strange moments when the noise goes silent and you hear the truth you have been avoiding. You know exactly when that happens, when you feel that pull again, that thing you were made to do, that work you keep imagining, that life you keep seeing for a second before reality rushes in and buries it. The truth is, what is meant for your life does not leave you alone. It follows you. It returns. And maybe it's not there to torment you. Maybe it is there because it belongs to you. Maybe the unrest you feel is not a problem to medicate away. Maybe it is a signal, a reminder that you were not made only to survive your days. You were made to spend your life on something that means something to you. And no, that does not mean recklessness. It does not mean blowing everything up overnight to prove a point. It means honesty. It means admitting that if you keep living in conflict with what matters most to you, no amount of comfort will make that feel right. Because peace does not come from avoiding the real thing. Peace comes from facing it and moving toward it. From knowing that even if the path is hard, even if the outcome is uncertain, you are no longer betraying the deepest thing in you. That is a different kind of life. A person like that breathes differently. They move differently. Not because everything became easy, but because they are no longer split in two. They are no longer feeding the quiet agony of unused potential. They are building, maybe slowly, but honestly. And that person should be proud. There is dignity in the person who keeps showing up for what matters, even before it pays off. There is pride in refusing to let exhaustion, fear, or the opinions of smaller minds decide the meaning of your life. That is what I think people are really starving for. Not constant pleasure, not endless ease. Meaning. The feeling that their life is actually being spent on something worthy. The feeling that when the final chapter comes, they will not have to look back and mourn the person they never became. Because that is the goal. Not to reach the end with a perfect record. Not to avoid every mistake. The goal is to reach the end and know that you did not leave anything on the table. That you did not stay in the wrong place just because it felt easier. That you honored what was given to you. That you kept moving toward it, even when the movement was small. There is peace in that. Real peace. The deeper peace that comes from alignment. From knowing you did not abandon what was real to you. Because the person who has truly lived does not meet the end with the same terror as the person who spent their whole life hiding from themselves. One is leaving with scars, effort, and stories. The other is leaving with questions, with unwritten chapters, with doors never opened, with whole worlds buried inside them. Do not let that be your story. Do not keep telling yourself that you have more time while wasting the time that is already in your hands. Do not make a home inside a life that keeps making you feel absent from yourself. If something in you has been asking for more, listen. If you know there is a path you keep avoiding because it would demand more effort and more courage, then stop pretending you do not know. One honest step is stronger than 1,000 perfect intentions. Start there, with a decision, the kind that changes the direction of a life because it changes what you are no longer willing to postpone. One day you will run out of tomorrows, so live in such a way that when that day comes, you do not have to whisper, "What if?" to the life you never truly entered. Live so that your final years are not filled with mourning for your own unlived self. From this point forward, live so that you no longer have to ask, "What if?" Live with no regrets and watch your life transform.